China RoHS and compliance of electronics. China RoHS, restriction of hazardous substances, is a Chinese government regulation that restricts the use of certain hazardous substances in electrical and electronic products sold in China. Aren't Europe and China RoHS the same? Complying with the Europe RoHS directive requirements is generally helpful. Indeed, both RoHS regulations share the same thresholds and same controlled substances at the homogeneous material level. However, it is not sufficient to claim conformity to the China RoHS regulation. Except for household equipment regulated under China RoHS 2019, the objective under RoHS is mainly to communicate the hazardous substances above a certain threshold, not to limit their concentrations. Furthermore, contrary to Europe RoHS, your device placed in China must come with a specific label and a RoHS table in Chinese, identifying the restricted hazardous substances exceeding the general thresholds. As a result, if there is no RoHS table, or if your product does not bear the Environmental Friendly Use Period (EFUP) label, then it is very easy for Chinese authorities to know it is not compliant and therefore to retain it at the border. If none of the above-mentioned threshold limits is contained in the homogeneous materials of a device, then the green EFUP symbol must be marked on the product. However, the green color is optional. On the other hand, if any of the above-mentioned threshold limits are exceeded in the homogeneous materials level of a device, then an orange EFUP symbol must be marked on the product. The orange color is optional too. The figure 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, etc. of this symbol represents the number of years during which no hazardous substances would leak or mutate under normal conditions of use. The product must bear a manufacturing year indicated the beginning of the EFUP year period. A table similar to this one must appear in the product documentation. The X must be written in the table whenever a restricted substance exceeds a threshold in a subassembly, otherwise an O must be written. Additionally, since November 1st, 2019, certain product categories must meet the RoHS requirements of certain electrical appliances and electronic products such as air conditioners, copiers, electric water heaters, fax machines, handheld phones for mobile communication, microcomputers, monitors, printers, refrigerators, telephone sets, TVs, or washing machines, similar to the EU RoHS restrictions of lead, mercury, cadmium, hexavalent chromium, PBBs, and PBDEs apply to these product categories. To show compliance, producers must either choose 1. The voluntary certification with a third-party certification body. Then, certified products are published on the public service platform for the restriction of hazardous substances in electrical appliances and electronic product. 2. Self-declaration with the submission of technical documentation and declaration of conformity on the public service platform. Finally, depending on the adopted certification approach, compliant products must be marked with one of these logos, VOC Emissions from electronic manufacturers. We know that China is the biggest manufacturer of electronics in many areas. We also know that pollution and particularly emissions of volatile organic compounds, VOCs, into the atmosphere contaminates the air. Sadly, the electronics industry emits large quantities of VOCs. In order to fight air pollution in China, the State Council of the People's Republic of China has published a so-called 3-year action plan to win the battle for a blue sky. These standards are not part of China RoHS. However, they impose limitations not only on VOCs, but also on heavy metals, halogenated hydrocarbons, formaldehyde, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAH, and other chemicals used in the production of electronics. Contact EnviroPass for any questions on applicable Chinese regulations.